Welcome to Get Wed,
a podcast to plan your wedding by.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Kerrie.
And we're both here as professional photographers
and brides-to-be to help you plan your big day.
Each week we'll discuss a topic that you'll encounter along your wedding planning journey.
And with the help of fellow industry experts, we'll navigate this crazy wedding world
together.
Welcome back to Get Wed, everyone. This week we are joined by Laura from mymarriednamechange.com, which is a service which makes changing to your new surname quick and painless. Laura's here to answer some questions that you may have about the process, and will even tell us where to start because it's a bit of a minefield. So Laura, would you like to just tell us a bit about you and how My Married Name Change came about?
Yeah, sure. So hello, everybody. So My Married Name Change is a service which I created a couple of years back now after a friend of mine got married, and she was having an absolute nightmare changing her name. And as I was already running the Budget Bride Company, which is my other website, she mentioned to me that it might be a good idea to kind of get started with offering people a service to make changing their name a bit easier. So that's kind of where it all started. But so for me personally, I run two businesses. I've got My Married Name Change and the Budget Bride Company. So I'm all about weddings.
Yeah,
it's just my thing.
I suppose where we should start is talking about whether we think women should still be changing their names.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I know there's like a lot of people who are very against the idea. Some people who are more than happy to do it. I changed my name. Did you change yours?
I did, yeah. And do you know what? I only actually got married last year.
Oh,
John and I have been together for 15 years, and then last year we tied the knot. So for me, it was, I'm obviously in the camp of, I'm pro changing your name, but equally, I totally understand when people choose not to, because it's a very private thing. And, I totally understand when people want to hold on to their heritage. It's something, it's their family history. Some people just think, why would you change your name? And, credit due to them, stick with it if you want to stick with it. But I mean, for me personally, I wanted to change my name because I like the idea. For me, it works well. But yeah, it's been a year now since we got married, and I've now been a Jeffrey and not a Sack, because my surname was Sack. Such a delicate, pretty surname. So for me, I wasn't too sorry to see it go, but even then I did still feel a little bit sad because it's a really unusual surname. It's Jewish German, and it's there aren't many Sacks in the country, so it's kind of quite easy to remember the name. But Jeffrey is good for me now.
It's funny, isn't it? And have you got used to having your new surname?
No, definitely not. No, I still say Laura Sack when people ask me what my name is. I'm still getting used to it. I think it will take a little while longer, maybe another 6 months or something. Then I'll feel probably like Mrs. Jeffrey. Feels very grown up saying Mrs. Jeffrey.
Yeah, it's the Mrs. part, isn't it? It makes you sound like an adult.
Yeah,
it's really
strange.
But there's a girl in our Facebook group who said as well that she was planning to change her name in her personal life, but she's keeping her maiden name professionally, which is the same as what I've done. So I've kept my business as Kerrie Mitchell, but I've changed my surname in my personal life. But I find that actually it's given me a bit of an identity crisis, because when pastors come at the door and stuff, I'm just always like, what am I signing under?
That is the problem, isn't it? Because it's a really nice way to do it, actually, to keep it professionally but change it personally. And that's something I know a lot of people do that, actually. And I debated that for a little while, because you've got your whole career and you just think, well, why would I lose that footprint of my history? When people Google Laura Sack, they'll find things, and if they Google Laura Jeffrey, there'll be not very much at the moment. But it's I know what you mean, that identity crisis, like, who am I? Which one am I?
I haven't got used to my new name at all. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's really strange.
Do you prefer your new surname?
I'm not entirely sure if I do. So Mitchell was quite an easy name, like everyone knew how to spell it, but my new surname is Misa, and I have to spell it out to everyone that I meet, so it's quite
the spelling thing
name. So that's the weirdest thing. And because I also have to spell my first name, because I'm Kerrie with an IE and not a Y. I'm spelling both of my names now, so that's a bit annoying. But I like the fact that it's different and a bit unusual.
It's nice.
So I'm sure I'll get used to it soon. But when people say it, I still go, "Ooh, that's me." That's really weird. So how soon after the wedding do you think people should be changing their name?
Well, like you say, if people choose not to, that is fine. There's no law that says that you have to change your name to match your partner's. Stick with it forever if you want. But if you do want to change your name, It's actually up to you. For me, it did take a little while. Like I left it a month or two just because I was just thinking, okay, I need to actually do this for myself rather than doing it for everybody else.
Yeah.
But when I did do it, I was just kind of like, okay, I'm glad I've got that done now, because it's always on your mind otherwise. It's like, oh, I've got to get that done, you know. So if you just kind of, you know, say, for example, use the My Married Name Change service, or just go through that list and do it yourself. It's whenever you can kind of get on the horse and just do it, really. That would be my advice. It's very common for people to do it super quickly.
Yeah.
I think some people, I know that a lot of people that have used my service, they do it in advance of their wedding. So they've actually got everything lined up and ready to go for when they're married. They can just literally kind of, they're on the case and it's all ready to go. But I'd say quite quickly. Most people tend to do it within kind of under 2 months, I'd say. Yeah, that's my experience.
Okay, cool. So what are the costs that are involved with changing your name?
So if you're doing a straightforward taking your partner's surname after you get married, so if your partner's surname is Smith and yours is, I don't know, Lane, and you just want to do a straight switch, take on the new surname, there are zero costs. You literally assume the surname. Right. So all you need is that wedding certificate, and you can literally go yourself to each of the organisations and companies that you use and literally inform them that you have assumed the new surname. So that's literally all there is to it. Yeah. The costs that might become involved usually arise when you are choosing to actually change your name. So if you want to invent a new surname out of Lane and Smith, for example, I don't know what the combination of those two words would be, but if you invented a new word for a new surname, a combination of both words, you'd then need a deed poll. Right. So when you choose to do that deed poll, then you would have to pay for the certificates to be done, and you can do them quite reasonably. I also run a deed poll company, and the costs involved are very small. It's kind of around about the £10 to £15 mark, and you can literally get that deed poll created up, and that's your name changed. So that's literally all you do. There are costs involved with if you want to get a new passport with your new surname on, you will have to pay a fee for a new passport. Okay. But that's literally a fee for a new passport rather than actually the fact that you're changing your name, if that makes sense. So really, it's free. If you choose to use a service like My Married Name Change, then there is a fee involved for creating the pack for you to make your life much easier. But actually, you know, it's very much up to you if you want to use a pack to make it easier, or if you do it yourself, it's free.
What I find really strange about it all is that changing your name isn't like a weird, like, long process, or there's nothing official to do it. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. It's
you
true.
You get married and then suddenly you're like, oh, that's your new name. It feels more official to go on Facebook and change it. Then you're like, right, that's my name.
So agree.
Do you know what I mean?
Completely agree. Yeah, because I think there's a lot of not necessarily stigma around it, but kind of like people think that there's some massive register that you need to go on, and that you need to apply legally, and solicitors need to approve it. It's just not like that. It's literally all you need is that marriage certificate, and it's done. If you choose to take their name, happy days. And even if you do a double barrel, actually, of both of your surnames, just with a hyphen in between, or just literally double barrel the names, even then that's fine, because it's clear where both names have come from. But yeah, there's no official kind of log really, apart from the marriage certificate. In Northern Ireland there is you do need to do an official process. You do actually need to send a form to show that you've signed your name, but the rest of the UK is it's just it's a done deal. If you want to take that surname, you take it.
I find that really weird. Like, I feel like I'd almost feel better about it if I had to write something down and send off ID and then get a letter back saying your new name.
You're done. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. It is bizarre.
It's really strange. I think the first time I used my new name as well was really strangely, because I went into Matalan.
Okay,
I hadn't been to Matalan for years, and you have to use their like little store card.
Yeah.
So I went to pay, and she's like, have you got your card? I was like, oh, no, sir, I haven't got one. She goes, oh, don't worry, we'll just give you a new one. And she's like, what's your name? I was like, oh, this is my first thing of my new name on.
That is lovely, the first time you say it, actually. Yeah, it is nice.
But it just felt so weird that was it. Like, all I had to do was just tell people what my new name was.
That's it. And just start using it.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. I feel like it should be more official, like a big bell rings or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned a bit there about getting a passport. If you're changing your name, and obviously it's just a case of getting a new passport itself. I think, like with me, for example, my passport doesn't run out for another 7 years, so I'm just going to keep it until it runs out. That's
a lot of people do that. That's the same for me. I've got 3 years left on mine. I am leaving it.
Yeah. So that obviously means then if you do decide to take your honeymoon quite soon after the wedding, you just book everything under your maiden name, do you? You don't have to worry necessarily about
that's the golden rule, actually. This is a really big one. So if you're looking to change your surname for your honeymoon, the golden rule is that your tickets, the name on your tickets matches the name on your passport, because otherwise you will not be allowed to travel. And I have heard of instances of that happening, where people have changed their names, and on the tickets it's the nice new married name, and then on the passport it's the maiden name, and they are not allowed to travel. So it's a big thing, actually. But there is a way around it. If you're really hot set on traveling on your honeymoon with your new married name, you can actually apply for your new passport up to 3 months in advance. So what happens is your old passport will be moot, so you can't use it anymore. So make sure you haven't got any other travel booked. But your new passport will be created and post-dated, so you can use it for your honeymoon in your new name, and it'll be ready waiting for you. But just make sure those tickets match the new married name. So there are ways around it. I'm not sure if we'll be able to add a link actually underneath this video, so I can I've actually got some more information on that on my blog. I wrote a blog post on it about how to do that. You can actually I've got a link for the government site where you can actually apply for your passport in advance, so I can share that link.
Yeah, if you just send that to me, I'll put it under in the show notes. That'd be great.
Sure.
But I suppose like travelling with your new name is quite an exciting thing to do, because I found that when we travelled, I was like, I want to get upgraded for everything. But I was like, we hadn't changed my name though, so I could have just been totally lying about the fact we just got married.
Yeah.
But we didn't get any
upgrades.
Like
you're just dating, aren't you?
Yeah. It's like you're so set on these things are going to happen, they never do they? So it's really funny. And we spoke briefly as well about hyphenating a name earlier on. Is that just completely the same then? You don't have to do anything official, you just both start using it. There's no rules around the kind of groom changing his name as such.
No, it's a very equal thing. So as long as you're married and you've got that marriage certificate showing both of your surnames, you can assume your partner's surname how you wish. So as long as you're not creating a new word, that's the big thing. It's got to be very clear where the names come from. So if it's not clear, like two words next to each other, it's actually a meshed word. That's when you need a deed poll. But if it's the two words next to each other, so Smith Lane, no problem. You've literally assumed those two names and it's clear where they come from.
Right, okay.
So that's just go ahead and start using them. And that's the same for men as it is for women. So a man can take his wife's surname and use that as his own, or take his wife's surname and use the two surnames together. Same for same-sex marriages. It's no problem. Okay. As long as it's clear on the marriage, well, it is clear on the marriage certificates what the two surnames are. Yeah. So you can just assume those. That's how it works.
And when you're sending stuff off to start changing your name, do you always have to send your original certificate?
Do you know, this is the big thing where it's such a pain in the neck, and this is why my service has made it a lot easier for people. Every single different company has different requirements. So Barclays Bank might require an original certificate, whilst another bank might require a copy certificate. Each company has different requirements. So utility companies might require a phone call and then a photocopy to be sent to them, whereas your mobile phone company might need no copy at all, and they just need you to send an email. So each company has different requirements. It's a pain. Ringing around each company takes a long time.
Way of doing things, wouldn't you? By now?
I know, there's not. This is it. I completely agree. But yeah, it's just a massive admin task, basically. Each company has different requirements, and you've just got to find out what they are. Unless you use a service which has done it for you, it's very time consuming, actually. Yeah.
Nightmare. So do you have any advice for how to make the process quite a smooth and simple one?
Okay, so I would recommend just getting as organised as you can. So just write a big old list of each company that you use that you need to notify. So whether it's it's gas companies, council tax, utilities, mobile phone, all of those different companies that you use, insurance companies, through to Hotmail or eBay. You need to write a big old list and just make sure that you can just work through them and just, call up each of those companies, get hold of the right department, find out who you need to notify and how you need to do it, and just get it done. To make it easier, use a service where all that is done for you, so you can just kind of tick off which companies you need to notify, and then a pack can be created where all that research has been done and the emails are just ready for you to sign off, and letters literally ready for you to sign and pop in the post. It would probably make life a lot easier.
Yeah. It's mad when you start thinking of that list, isn't it? It's all the stuff that you've signed up for in your entire life.
Yeah, there's so many. And the thing is, it's like you'll keep thinking, it's like, oh, I didn't even think of them. You know, it's like, oh, doctors. Yeah, it's like I don't want to be called Laura Sack anymore when I'm called up for my doctor's appointment. Yeah, there's so many. The list goes on and on.
Like I just sit, like, even now I keep finding other things, like silly things like Netflix subscriptions and
yes,
all that sort of stuff that you just totally forget about, and you've got your own name for, and it's like never ending. Just they just keep coming out of the kind of woodwork, like, oh, you're still Kerrie.
Yeah, they do. See, I've got a funny one actually, because my little boy was he was born when my name on the NHS was Laura Sack still, and his name is Jack. So, really? So when he was born officially, because babies have to take the mummy's name, he's Jack Sack.
Oh,
so that's an interesting one. So when we go to the doctors, he was down as Jack Sack to begin with, and I was like, that's not his name, it's Jack Jeffrey. So they do pop out of the woodwork.
Yeah, how funny. I suppose lots of people have that situation where they're not necessarily too keen on their actual surname, isn't it? So when they change it, it's a really good thing that's something they really want to do. But personally for me, like, I never even thought about not changing my name. Like, it was always something I thought I would definitely do.
Yes. I think that's the thing though, isn't it? You tend to be in one camp or the other, I think.
It's really weird. But back to like our little Facebook group, we had a few people in there who were making comments when I asked about who was going to be changing their name. One girl, and you might be able to relate with this actually after what you just said about your son, she said that her name's Chanel, and she mentioned, I'm not changing my name, but there's still a really silly niggle in the back of my mind that says that we can't be a real family unless we share the same last name. So it feels like there's no good solution. But I reckon a lot of people must feel like that.
I think so. Yeah. No, it does. It pulls at your heartstrings a bit, actually, because it's, if you really want to keep your surname for your identity, but then if you've got, your partner and your children and you want to all be under the same umbrella, it's a really tricky one, actually. Yeah, you've just got to decide where your heart lays the most, I suppose. Which is more important to you.
I think a lot of people do that, don't they? When they get to that point where it's changing your name, it makes them feel like a complete family because suddenly you've all got the same name, especially with children involved. Because a lot of the time, I guess the children would take on their father's name, and then you'd be the only one who would still be the maiden name. So you kind of
See, personally, for me, that was an issue. I did very strongly feel like I almost felt a bit left out, actually, with my daughter. She's Isla Jeffrey, my husband was John Jeffrey, and I was Laura Sack. It was almost like I was a little outsider. It's like, oh, the Jeffreys versus the Sack. For me, it was an issue. For some people, it's just not even a problem at all. But yeah, for me, I did flag it up, and it was just like, oh, it made me feel a bit sad.
I can understand that. I think I'd be a bit like that. I find it really strange to not have the same surname as everyone else.
Yeah.
And then, another girl in our group, Gemma, she said that we're both taking each other's names. So ours, I'm not going to say her surname on the episode, but it's a bit of a mouthful. So she's hyphenating, but she's like, but then she wrote, I'm not sure if we both will use both names all the time though, because it's a bit of a mouthful. So I suppose you could still hyphenate, but then just use the first one, I guess, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And then Charlotte wrote, I plan to change my name, but it feels really weird.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, it's like we were saying earlier, it does take a good year or two, I think, before you actually get used to it. You've had it your whole life.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're a new person. But I think something funny was I've had this conversation with a couple of my friends, and I feel it as well. It's almost like you get a bit of a makeover when you get your new name. It's like, oh, I'm going to have a bit of a makeover now. It's just like that was me before, and this is me now.
Yeah, it's like the start of my new life.
Yeah, exactly. That was like 2 days. But
I found it really good as well for things like I'd had this Hotmail account since I was in college. I remember us having to start up an email account when internet was new in college.
Yeah. And
so I've had it since then, and it's where I put like all the things I have to sign up for websites for. So like my phone is under there and stuff. So all my kind of junk email goes to that email address, and it's got probably millions of emails in that I never open. So when I changed my name, I was like, I'm going to start a new email address under my new name, and that felt so refreshing. And now I'm really careful about what I sign up for.
Yeah, good idea. The amount of spam, not cool.
So I really enjoyed that. I was like, oh, a new start. Just for something silly like your email. That's crazy.
Oh, it's nice. It's nice.
Perfect. So let's go back to your service then, which is mymarriednamechange.com. So I personally use this because when I started to look at how much stuff I had to change, I panicked and I knew I never ever got around to doing it. Can you tell us a bit more about how that process works if everyone wants to make it a little bit easier on themselves?
Yeah, sure. So the service that I offer is basically, it's just a really quick, easy way to manage the whole process. So instead of making all those phone calls yourself and making that big old list yourself and trying to work out who you need to notify, the service that I offer is just a really quick way to do it. So there's a form to fill in, which takes about 5 minutes. Did you find that? It's about 5 minutes or
it's
so.
really simple.
It's a quick one. So literally, it's a secure site, fully secure. You fill in your details and you'll see a list of, there's 300, well, it's almost 400 companies now that you can choose from. So if you bank with Barclays, if your mobile phone is with EE, whoever your utility companies are, you can literally go through the list. And a lot of people have said to me that it jogs their memory as to who they need to notify, because there are so many different companies and you lose track. But you literally tick the boxes of who you want to notify, and then because it's a fully automated system, at the end, once you've made your payment, out pops your pack. It's emailed straight to you, and your pack will include a checklist of all of the companies that you need to notify, along with the exact requirements that each company needs. So for example, I don't know, EE might need you to send a copy of your marriage certificate with a letter to their head office. You'll have that letter ready to sign and send in your pack. So literally the only thing you need to do is work out which companies need a copy, which companies need an original, just sign and send. It just makes it a lot more straightforward. And some companies, I know that I think it's certain utility companies, they only actually need a phone call. So instead of trying to ring round and find out which department you need to speak to, the pack will tell you the exact number that you need to ring, and you can just go through directly to the person who you need to speak to and just let them know quickly, and then that's another tick off the list, another company done. So yeah, it just makes it all a lot more straightforward, a lot quicker process rather than something that drags on for ages. And then something else that is included is all the forms that you need, because a lot of companies actually need you to fill out a change of name form.
Right.
So instead of having to go into whichever bank or mobile phone shop it is, all those forms are attached for you. So they're literally there ready for you to fill out and send off with your cover letter, which is included in the pack.
Perfect.
So it just makes it a lot quicker.
That was the thing I found really useful, actually, because I hate writing like those professional sounding like cover letters. I never know what to say, and I just think, oh, how do you even start? So actually the fact that that's all done for you is genius. When I got it through, so it's like, oh, I've just got to sign my name. Done.
Yeah, exactly. Just pop it in the envelope and send it off. Yeah, because there's there are 2 levels of pack that I offer. So there's the email pack. So that's perfect if you've got a printer at home and you can just literally press print and sort it all out yourself. But if you just don't have the time or the inclination, I do a premium pack, which is a printed version, which is sent out to you by first class post with matching envelopes. So that comes out to you at home, and then just makes it even a bit more straightforward. So then it's just literally sign and send.
I suppose a lot of people might do it all and then just have it sat on their computer and actually not get around to printing it out.
True, yeah. If you've got it physically, it's like, right, let's get this done.
Yeah, just get it out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
But something you were saying about banks just jogged my memory quickly. When just after the wedding, because we asked for money as gifts for our wedding.
Okay, yeah.
So we were going away on our honeymoon a few days afterwards, but we didn't want to leave all the money in the house, so we were a bit worried about that, because there's a lot of it. We're very lucky, everyone was very generous. So we went up into town and we decided to open a joint account.
Okay.
To put our
that's very grown up.
Yeah, and that was another day where I was like, oh, I've got a new name, and it was very very exciting, because we haven't had joint accounts up until that point. We always keep things separate, which is definitely like another episode that I need to do about whether you should keep your finances separate or not. But anyway, for this, we decided to make a joint account just for this kind of section of money, almost like a savings account, really. And we went in to do that, and whilst I was there, she was like, oh, well, I'll just change your name on everything then, because we had our mortgage and everything under that company. And I was like, oh, that all feels a bit strange. And then she handed me a piece of paper. She's like, right, I just need your new signature. And I was like, I don't even know what my new signature is.
See, I really struggled with that, actually, because my old signature and my new signature, they're actually practically the same, because it's almost illegible. And I just thought, well, actually, you can't really tell if it says Laura Sacker or Laura Jeffrey, because it's such a squiggle. So it's like, I'm just sticking with that. Yeah. It's like, that's what comes naturally, so I'm sticking with it. Because Laura Jeffrey, for me, that just didn't flow as a signature. I couldn't make it work. So I just kind of slightly amended my first one. Yeah. I think some people's names must be a lot easier to sign than others.
It was just such a shock to be given a pen and a piece of paper, and she's like, right, sign your new name. I was like, I don't even know what it is, and I signed it, and then I was like, well, I guess I'm stuck with that now. That's what I'm doing. But it's fine. But yeah, like I don't think you necessarily need to change your signature, though, do you? As long as you're making, is it just a point of making a mark? Does it have to be?
I think so. I think. Do you know what? I'm not actually clear on that.
No.
I think there's no specific rule that I've heard of. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, that really. Yeah, not sure.
I think it's quite an exciting thing though to change it. It's like when you go back to when you were a child and like you had a crush on a boy and you'd like practice your new surname with him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. You do it from when you're like 7 years old.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Perfect. Well, that's really great to find out all that information about your service. I hope you get lots of people signing up because I think it's brilliant. It's just such a lifesaver.
Thank you.
Especially even if just like the little checklist, like you said, just jogged my memory about so much stuff. So
yes,
that was brilliant. And before you go, I've got for this new season of Get Wed, I've got these 3 little quick fire questions that I'm asking all my new guests.
Okay, go on.
So obviously we've established that you're married, so I'm going to use my married step. This is a really obvious one. We've probably spoken about this already. So my first question is, if you change your last name, do you like it?
Yeah, I do. I do like it. I'm very happy with it.
And actually, now for your little boy, that works really well. It's like a JJ
Jack
name.
Jeffrey. Yeah.
Sounds like a singer or something.
Oh.
He'll be famous one day.
I'll tell him that when he's older.
And our second question is, what song did you choose for your first dance, if you had one?
Well, we actually eloped. So John and I ran away to Brighton to get married because, we just thought that would be fun. So, yeah, just before Christmas last year, we ran away to get married. So we bucked loads of traditions. We didn't have a first dance. I had a bouquet. I had a lovely dress. I did the something borrowed, something blue thing. But, yeah, no first dance for us. And also I was pregnant at the time, so I think I'd have been like, wobbling around.
So, sorry, I've gone off tangent now that I found that out. Did that offend your family?
No, there were a couple of people who were a little bit confused by it, just like, why? Why did you sneak off? But, actually, I think because we'd been together so long, people were just pleased that we'd just done it. It's like, oh, at last. So, yeah, I think more people were happy than upset.
Okay, that's
good.
And our last question, can you share some marriage advice for our listeners?
Okay, I would say to try and keep things fun. Just because you're married doesn't mean that you can't do all those fun things that you were doing when you were still first dating. So maybe like doing some date nights frequently and, not being too grown up. Because I think when you're married, when you're missus, you do feel suddenly a lot more grown up. And it's like, oh, maybe I should be a bit more sensible. I'd say just don't be.
Just don't do that.
Don't be sensible. Yeah, keep it fun wherever possible. Not too heavy.
I've got a couple of friends who do, they're married and they do alphabet dating.
Okay.
So they don't do it every month. They try to when they started out, but they go for the alphabet and they pick a thing. So one person will do the A and then somebody would do B.
Okay.
And, it just means that they're doing things that you wouldn't normally do because you do fall into like a bit of a trap when you're married, don't you? You just don't really do anything.
Same things sometimes. Yeah.
So they've done all sorts of things, like they've been out on like segways and
that's so cool.
Just, like, finding something to fit the letter, so it kind of keeps things quite fun and exciting and gives you.
I'm gonna have to give that a try. I like that.
I keep saying we should do it, but we haven't actually done it yet. But I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, love that.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been really great to hear about how we can make this much less painful than it is.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Where do people find you if they want to come and use your service?
So it's mymarriednamechange.com. So just head over there and you'll be able to see all the blogs and everything else as well. I think I'll be able to offer a little discount as well for your listeners if you'd like. So if you use the code GETWED at the checkout, we'll take 20% off any pack that any of your listeners would like to purchase.
And I'll make sure I put all that in the show notes along with that blog post that you mentioned as well. So people can find you really easily. But thank you so much, Laura. It's been really great.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. We really hope that you've enjoyed this episode of Get Wed. Don't forget you can always subscribe to us on Apple Podcast, and whilst you're there, you may as well leave us a review. You can join us for more wedding chat in our Facebook group if you just can't wait until next week, and you'll find all the links that you need via our website, including show notes for this episode at www.getwedpodcast.co.uk. We'll see you next time. Happy planning!